The work titled The Effect of Albizia saman seed meal on the Performance and Carcass Characteristics of Finisher Broilers was done by a team made up of Professor K.C. Okori, Dr. J.N. Ikpe, Dr. A.C. Esiegwu, E.C. Oku, and B.O. Nwodo. The presenter is Dr. J.N. Ikpe. Introduction. The prevailing scarcity and high cost of feed ingredients have greatly affected livestock industry, as feed alone accounts for over 70% of cost of production. To sustain the livestock industries, it becomes very necessary and urgent to discover other sources of feed ingredients that can replace either totally or partly the already existing ones, whose cost is presently too high because of the current pressure on their usage. Albizia saman is one of the shrubs whose seed can fit into as protein source in livestock industry. The seed currently is not under usage pressure. The objective of the study, therefore, is to investigate the effect of Albizia saman seed meal on the performance and carcass characteristics of finisher broilers. Materials and method. The study was conducted at the Research and Demonstration Farm of Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Medicine, Imo State University, Owerri, Nigeria. The seeds were collected from the wild, soaked in water for 24 hours, boiled for 25 minutes, dried in an oven to a moisture content of 9 to 10%, and toasted on fire for 5 minutes to denature any possible anti-nutrients present in the seed. The seeds were then milled in hammer mill to obtain the seed meal. Proximate and phytochemical composition of the seed meal were analyzed. The meal was used to replace soybean in finisher broiler diets at 0%, 2.5%, 5%, and 7.5% inclusion rates on weight-to-weight basis for treatments 1, 2, 3, and 4, respectively. Ingredient composition of the experimental diets is presented in Table 1. Experimental beds and design. A total of 120 marshal breed finisher broilers of 28 days of age were used for the experiment. The broilers were divided into 4 experimental groups of 30 broilers each, which was replicated 3 times to give 10 broilers per replicate. The groups were randomly assigned to the experimental diet and raised on deep litter system of management. Feed and water were given ad libitum, and proper routine management practices and medication adopted. The experiment lasted for 28 days, during which the performance parameters were taken. At the end of the 28th day, the birds were slaughtered and the carcass parameters assessed. Data obtained were analyzed using SPSS software. Results and discussion. The results of chemical composition of the Albizia saman seed meal are presented in Table 2. Also, the results obtained from the phytochemical composition are also presented in Table 3. From the results of the proximate composition, it was seen that the group protein level of Albizia saman seed meal was 16%, and this result agreed with the report of Escalante 2009. The phytochemical analysis showed that the quantity of tannin was high. The cardiac glycoside, saponin, alkaloids and flavonoids were moderate, while oxalates, phytates, and phenols were low. The performance parameters of the broilers is presented in Table 4. From the table, it can be seen that the performance results showed that there was a progressive increase in weight gain as the inclusion rate of Albizia saman seed meal increased. Also, there was a reduction in feed intake of the birds at the higher inclusion rate of the test ingredients, which made for a better and a lower feed conversion rate for the birds in that group. This result is an indication that the phytochemical compounds in Albizia saman seed meal were within tolerable level, as though tannin has been reported to have a negative impact on growth rate of animals. The birds on the test ingredient in the present study performed well despite the level of tannin obtained from the phytochemical results of the seed. The result is also an indication that Albizia saman seed meal can be an excellent ingredient for animal feeding. The results of the carcass and organ characteristics of the finisher broilers are presented in Table 5. From the results, it can be seen that the organ parameters of the broilers were in all the treatment groups were uniform. This is an indication that the broilers were healthy and that Albizia saman seed meal did not impact toxic effects on the experimental broilers, as toxicity would have been dictated from an increased liver size. Conclusion and recommendation. The incorporation of Albizia saman seed meal up to 7.5% inclusion level in the diet of broiler finishers resulted to a better performance of the broilers on the test ingredients than those on the control diet. Also, at up to 7.5% inclusion rate, the organs of the broiler finishers were not affected. Based on this, we therefore recommended that Albizia saman seed meal can be a veritable feed ingredient in feeding broilers. Thank you so much for listening.